A very warm welcome to this video. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic in the world of pendulum healing, and we are going to discuss about the neutral pendulum. Now the question is, why is this such an important topic? And that is because, while we are doing the dowsing stuff, we are trying to gauge, we are trying to sense, and we are trying to send different kinds of energies. Now, how is it possible that we remain as unbiased as we can, how we can remain as neutral as we can, and that is perhaps possible to a large extent with the help of using the neutral pendulum. And to talk about the neutral pendulum, I have with me a very special guest. Her name is Miss Alicja Aratyn. She hails from Poland, but right now she's living in Toronto. She has been the vice president of Canadian Society of Dowsers. She has spent decades of her time and effort in the dowsing world and in pendulum healing. A very warm welcome, Miss Alicja.
Thank
It's
you
a
very
pleasure
much.
again to be talking to you on this special, amazing subject of the neutral pendulum. Please enlighten me and our viewers regarding this important pendulum.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. And thank you, Professor Prabal, for giving me this opportunity to talk about this pendulum and dowsing in general, but today about the neutral pendulum, because normally we are used to treating pendulums and using pendulums for very many activities in our life. Majority of people ask questions. Some people who follow scientific dowsing, which I teach, use statements instead of questions, but still, pendulum is normally used to solve our problems. Today we will talk about very special pendulum, which you do not ask question or try to solve anything. It is used in healing or in research to find what type of energy either body is lacking or something what you are researching emits, because we can take any object, let's say this bottle of water, and we will find out what type of energy, in a sense of color, the water inside this bottle, that's why I opened it, so we will not have access to the plastic from the lid, but rather from the vortex, from the water which is inside. And we can find out what type of color, which means vibration, this object gives. Or I have here in this cup, I have a tea, which is linden and raspberry tea. So on the top of this, which means researching something for the given vibrations and things like this, we can also use this pendulum in therapy. We can emit from pendulum, not we, but really pendulum will, but with our help, because we will hold the pendulum, specific frequencies which are actually marked on the string of the pendulum here. So you can see the different beats on the pendulum, on the string of the pendulum. And those are vibrations which are mostly vibration from visible spectrum of light, which constitutes majority of our body, physical body, and two frequencies from invisible, actually four, but two which we will use in healing, vibration from invisible spectrum of light, and we will say in a moment why, right? So let's divide this lecture into two parts, actually three. We will do the main two things will be researching and healing. In healing, we will talk about healing yourself and healing others. Okay, so that will be 3 parts, 2 main parts, and then 2 sub parts in one of them. All right, let's start with a description of the pendulum, which is called neutral pendulum. Why this pendulum is called neutral is because the wood which it is made of is cut this way that the polarity is kind of hidden inside. So that's why I'm saying often that making a pendulum seems to be easy, but there is a physics in it and mathematics. Sometimes we have to count the sizes and so on to do it properly, so it will do really the work we want it to do. So first part is to cut properly the wood. So if you will look closer, and the pendulum is done such way that you cannot really see it, but if you will look closer when you have your pendulum, then you will see that there is a line in between, kind of like an equator on the Mother Earth, which is the place when the pendulum is, 2 parts of pendulum is glued together. But to make it perfectly round, it is actually filed and polished this way that it's practically invisible. So that's why this is neutral. It is painted in black because we want this pendulum to allow everything to go through. And when we talked about aura meter, we were talking about why black and white, not for color pictures. That's right. So we were talking about it, that white contains everything, blackness has nothing. Therefore, if we will hold it here whenever, and we want to send the energy of, for example, red or orange, it will go through, because through that there is nothing in black, so everything can penetrate through.
Excellent.
While if we want to send blue through yellow, then those are 2 different frequencies, and one will say, no, you don't belong to me, you are not the same, therefore you cannot go through me because you are completely different. Okay?
Understood. Excellent.
And that's why when we work with people, we should, especially when you work on distance, you should request that the picture will be black and white.
Right.
So, or you just turn it to pictures and just make for yourself black and white version of the color picture which client sends to you. All right, so I have this tea in this cup, which is, and I will lower it a little bit. I want you just to see the tip of it, because we may go further with this. On the string of the pendulum, as I showed you, there are different beats which mark the colors. They are not in even distance, because the frequency, the wavelength of colors are different. They are not always 2 centimeters apart or 2 inches apart and so on. The wavelengths are completely different. So you may see bigger and smaller distances between one or the other. The presence of the colors here are from white to white, which means it gives us whole spectrum of colors. One range of colors. So it's white, then black. Black is used in research, but it is not used in healing. Then it's infrared. You will see 3 red points. All are red because they are made, since they have to stick. So you will not be able to move them. So they are glued to the string. And we need to use thermal tapes to do it. If we use thermal tapes, then the available colors are very limited, just because they are used normally in, in electrical industry and so on. Therefore, we don't have full spectrum of colors. So those first three colors are marked red. Infrared, which is invisible, therefore, it's infrared, therefore it's marked by red. Then the second one is red, and the third one is orange. There is no orange thermal tape, so we mark it by red as well. And then you have yellow for solar plexus, then you have green for the heart, blue, indigo, violet, ultraviolet, which is kind of brownish here, but again, it's invisible, so this way or the other, there would be no color to mark it. And then you have another white. So the upper white and lower white one is transparent, one is solid white, to show you that there is one range of colors. Okay? So that's what you will have. And then we will put it in our hand, just wrap it up, and starting with white, we hold it over the object we want to research, and then we will release the string slowly. I call it walking the string because you are not dropping. You just move your fingers kind of like this to push the string down relatively slowly. If you don't have experience, then do it slower than those who have more experiences with finding wavelength. And then you will go up, saying absolutely nothing and waiting until the pendulum will start to react. It's kind of like searching for wavelength. So you go up, and then it starts to move very gently. So let's move a little bit more. So the wavelength of this fluid, which is in this cup, is slightly above infrared. Okay, the first red, as you remember, is infrared. So we were slightly above that. We also need to consider the fact that the mag inside is painted in color blue, which has influence on the liquid which is inside. So it may not be exactly only and exclusively the vibration of the tea which is inside, but the blue has also influence on. Now, what is the beauty about this pendulum is that, not like the other pendulums, even if they have colors marked, you can, for example, universal pendulum, you can go in between colors, which means you can say that it vibrates half and half between, let's say, the orange and yellow, which means the wavelength of something is 50% orange and 50% yellow, or 25% orange and 75% yellow, depending where you will find it. You can find the mixture of vibrations also. And you can, well, roughly estimate the percentage of both of them which are included in the vibration of this or something else, right? If I would like to do the same with this bottle of water, this is a mineral water, and I will go above. As we know, everything, especially if it's liquid and especially if it's in the container, it will not body of water like a sea or ocean, which you would have to be very, very high to catch the vortex of it. But something what is relatively small in size will give the vortex of energy which spirals from it. All right. So if you will go over and again do it here, slowly releasing without saying absolutely nothing. One moment, let's start again, and I will go below white. Okay. And it's better focus, and it's better to take the bracelet off, which I didn't. You see, I felt the movement at white. That's why I went down. So this water releases the frequency of white.
Excellent.
Okay.
Now, there's a small little question, if you would allow.
Excuse me, I didn't hear.
There's a small little question, if you would allow.
Yes, absolutely.
When we were walking down the string, and you said you start from here and keep on walking down, and here is the white, where you found the frequency of the liquid in the bottle. I was just asking that, did the white start from here? What is there here? Like,
no,
does the white start from here? Or does it end here?
Below this white, this first white, is a previous range of the colors. Right. So this is one range of the colors. It's like a sinusoid.
Okay.
And that is another one, and next one, and next one. So that's why we say very often that dowsing is like a music. It goes in the ranges. It has lower and higher vibrations, or lower and higher octave or octave.
So that means
music.
Music, yeah. So
like music. So this is the end of the wavelength, and here there will be another set.
But it would be the end of the set, so that's why it would be probably ultraviolet, as you mentioned.
Ultraviolet, and then there is another white, because then the next wave, the next range starts along this. If we will extend this string, then we can mark after white, black, red, infrared, red, orange, and so on.
Okay, let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. Now, here is the white. I do understand absolutely what you said, that beneath it is a different octave altogether. I appreciate and thank you so much. But after this white starts from here, and now we move up, and here is the infrared. So my point is, as you mentioned, as one of the unique abilities of the neutral pendulum, that we can also find combination of colors. So in case I am having it somewhere here.
Yes.
So has the infrared started over here, or will the infrared start only at this particular point where you have marked?
Particular point. The
So here
wavelength,
infrared will start.
yes,
So
yes.
this is the white.
Therefore, if you will be below infrared, you will have a mixture of white and infrared, actually black and infrared.
Black and infrared, right? That's right. It was a little invisible. I missed it.
Yes. Yeah. Here is black on black, so it's really hard to see.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
All right. And because black is connected in majority of belief systems, black is connected with death. Therefore, in healing, we do not use black. Okay, that's why I'm saying in research, we can use black, or if something shows black, then there is assumption that something is not alive.
I see.
Let's say if someone searches for the grave, for mummies, for example, and things like this, there will be a vortex which will vibrate black as well as maybe other colors, because there are jewelry pieces and things like this, all the treasures, if we are talking about, for example, Egyptian mummies. Okay, but if you will research the body, then it's different story. Okay, that's why just to share with you one thing, small digression, I guess.
Please.
That's why we always think that it's very healthy to wear leather shoes. But if you think about it, leather shoes or leather vibrates the gray color gray, which means between white, life, and dead, and black, which is dead. So it vibrates gray as a mixture of those two, just because it's done of dead body.
I see.
So yes, it's breathable. Yes, it's natural, but it has also some other iffy aspects, let's say, in it. Okay.
No, you're absolutely right. In India, from times immemorial, there have been historical accounts that people used to wear slippers made out of wood. They were called khadao, and we never used to wear leather-based slippers. Number one. Number two, whenever we go to either a temple or a Gurudwara, so we just have to, put the shoes off. Probably it has got to
remove your
some
shoes.
connotation with what you have just mentioned.
Absolutely. When I work on people, and for years I work on Zoom only, not because of any health conditions or whatever. I don't even want to go into naming anything and promoting anything. I always work, even if I sit here with you right now, I don't have any shoes on my feet. And if the years I was taking clients in my place, I was always doing this with bare feet. Because however you are not, today we are not connected with ground per se, then we are still closer to the ground if we do not have any artificial footwear or leather one, right? But let's put this aside, because it also is slightly more spiritual divagation, which I love, but we have very limited time here. So this is when you research. Why do we research with this? Well, because sometimes you will find out after, when we go through second part, and you will find out that your body needs something. For example, needs vibration of red or vibration of yellow or things like this, okay? Then you can find out what food you eat or you like to eat release red. It does not have to be red in color. They can be beets which release red.
Right.
Okay. But also apple, for example, which is mostly white inside and have red skin, and you peel the apple and it's still red.
Right.
So you can find out, and as we know, our body absorbs the best if it takes the nutrition from food and herbs. Basically from something what is natural, or stones, of course, you know, but we are talking about introducing something to our body through the digestive system, let's say. Okay, so you can have your pendulum set on, for example, on red, hold it over the many teeth you have, and have it and pass it from one to the other, and pendulum will probably do nothing. Let's imagine that this is tea, but tea which I want to find out if it releases red, and I hold it over, and it will have some red, but as you see, not much, because the movement is very small. Why does it release red? Well, because of the raspberry.
I see.
Component of raspberry. When I will do this, I have to put it lower, then it will give us more red because, but not as strong as white, because white is a composition of everything. So it does have red inside. Because red is only a part of white, then the rotation, the size of the vortex and the speed of the vortex is lower than the white. Yes, because it's only one part of white. But still we will find red in transparent water. Either it is mineral or not, but it's still water and it's transparent. So it will have a little bit of red in it. And blue and yellow, all this. Okay, so you can go over your food, hold the pendulum over it, hold it by the red color, red bead, and then pass it from one type of food to the other, separate them so they will not be too close to each other. Forget touching, but not too close to each other, because again, auras or energies of it will overlap and influence one another. So separate them and check which one contains red.
Excellent.
All right? What you can do is also, you can take...
If some food is stale, if the food has become stale, not usable anymore, have you ever tried which of the color would probably appear as a wavelength?
Yes. So that's what I actually, as people say, that how sorry, what is the saying, that smart minds, not smart, but intelligent mind think alike, or something like this. Because it's just what I wanted to talk about. If, for example, if you need red and you cannot, and all the red clothes which you have do not release pure red, which is very possible because it's chemically processed and it has other colors in it, and you really need a pure red. Okay, you can take a piece of paper, small piece of paper, but I will do it over the bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hold the pendulum on red. And so I hold on the second red, because infrared and red, hold it over and say, supply this, because red does not know what you want to do, since that is very specific work. It's not, oh, show me what it releases. You demand something. So what do you want me to do for you? Okay.
Yeah.
So supply this sheet of paper with the frequency of red to the highest possible level, which means as much as it can take. All right.
Very
And
nice.
you just wait. And you just wait. It can be also the situation when you do that, in the situation when you need to go somewhere, for example, in this dark navy suit, but you need red, right? Then you can take this sheet of paper, which you supply with red, to the maximum, you fold it, put it in your pocket, and it will radiate this red, which you will absorb during the day. Of course, probably in half a day or after a day, it will be empty because you ate, you consumed all red from it. But still, for certain part of the day, you will have red without wearing red.
Very
okay?
beautiful. So that means
Mhm.
if we have food in the kitchen and somehow the packing has been lost, and we just want to make sure whether this has gone stale, putrid or not, after doing a few experiments, we can try and douse it by seeing what is the color which the food is emitting. So if a person knows what is the usual color, and today if that food is not emitting that color, then probably the food is not fit to eat. So one can come to an calculated guess whether the
Yes,
food is good for the person or not. Also,
absolutely.
in one of our earlier videos, probably we had touched upon the subject of relationship healing, and we can always, if we want to, what is the current status of a relationship in terms of wavelength, and then which wavelength would we like to supply in order to make the relationship better, or what is the for disease as well. The same analogy which you have just taught so beautifully can be worked with the help of this marvelous piece of pendulum.
Yes, and that's what we will talk in the part of healing or therapeutic application of neutral pendulum.
Wonderful.
So that's the thing. You can use neutral pendulum in order to research, but because that's what we are talking about.
Yes.
The application is endless. If you want to have specific frequency in your room, let's say red when you have to be active in a fitness room, blue somewhere when you go to sleep, for example, and so on and so on. You can supply this room, this part of the house, with specific vibration. Now, you cannot really do it once in a lifetime, because everyone who will come to use treadmill, let's say, will also absorb the red from this, because that's very warm, active color. So they will use it up. Okay. When we sleep, we will use blue. However, if someone has a problem with the blood, then maybe not necessarily blue, but you can find out the color which is needed in this room for me to be at my best health, let's say, or have restful sleep. And then you supply the room, this room, so it will not go to the other room, but it will stay in this room with this frequency, and you wait until pendulum will stop, then you will have it. Probably it will last over the night, but if there is two people, then you have to take into consideration, of course, the energy of both people. So, but as I said, the application of researching and then supplying with energy if needed is absolutely crucial for us as a therapist to know, right?
Very nice.
I
Very
remember when I was learning dowsing, this very old gentleman who we became friends with time, but I was very young and he was much older than me. He would do the experiment like this with me. He played with me. He would take a shoebox and put something inside, but not necessarily it was standing on the bottom. Sometimes it was hanging on the fish rod, in the middle. And he said, well, take the pendulum and tell me, I'm telling you this, it radiates green. Tell me what it is and what is the shape.
Oh, that's wonderful. So how do you tell the shape? How do you tell the shape? Do you think?
Because, when I go on green and I scan this one side of the box, then it starts to say yes, 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 and yes, 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 and so on. And layer by layer, I found out that it was a pyramid, actually,
Wonderful.
which he hanged. And when you research all four walls, well, you will find out what the shape is. Because if it's an egg, it can have, depending on how one put the egg on, it will have a different shape from those two walls and those two walls, because here you will have more elliptic kind of shape and here more round shape and so on. So that was, but you see, that is the beauty of times when we were not taking formal courses.
Yeah.
And left the room on Sunday night with certificate that I am great in dowsing. Or I am great dowser. But there was apprenticeship.
Right.
Nobody was counting on anything. It was fun and it was learning through different experiences.
Yes.
And discussing those experiences. But time going fast for us as well. So let's go. If you have no questions, let's go to the other part.
Yeah, this was very interesting and enlightening, especially the thing which you mentioned you did with one of your mentors, and you played those games by keeping things in boxes and trying to figure out what the shape is, where exactly is it lying inside the box, is it hitting the ground level, or is it in between, something like that. It is really a very fun and a very practical, innovative game.
Absolutely.
You touched upon how to research with the help of the neutral pendulum. And as you mentioned in the beginning, that we'll be learning how to research on the self as well as on others. So I guess what you told is that the procedure is the same, whether we have to research for our own self or for somebody else. We have to take the neutral pendulum. We have to slowly walk a mile, slowly, just going from one color to the other color. And the beauty of the neutral pendulum is that it will also let you find the exact wavelength, whether it is the exact color or a mixture of two colors. And then you'll get to know what probably the energy level of that particular object, person, or thing is.
Yes, but why I was mentioning as a digression this exercise and all this what we were doing with my friend was to actually nicely, I hope, smoothly go from the researching to therapeutic usage. Because you see, in healing, when people put their body into your hands,
yeah,
you cannot allow yourself to doubt yourself.
yes,
So the exercises like this allow you to accept that those are results, and I do not discuss the results. I can analyze them, I can draw the conclusions, but I will not second doubt myself. Okay?
yes.
So that's the first thing when you approach therapy. So let's now talk about therapeutic application of it.
Okay.
The first thing is first. We will talk about how to deal with us, which means you have the pendulum and you have your body. Of course, you will not lie down and do pendulum like over your chakras because it's not proper. The tension in your muscles are different depending on the angle here. So it's not a proper way to handling it, because the results or the way you hold the pendulum will influence the speed and the size of the vortex you will read. So what we can do is, if you work with yourself, is put your hand on something. Like I have this black cloth, and going from infrared, and we can talk about it in a moment, why infrared, we will go from the bottom to the top. Some people go from the top to the bottom. I never do it. I presume that the energy flows from lower vibration to higher vibration. So I go from the bottom, but it will be your choice. So you go on infrared and say, because you are not going over chakra, but you go over your hand, you have to say what you want. So balance infrared, or balance the center above. Then when it stops, you go to the second red and you say balance first chakra or base chakra. Or you will probably use the Sanskrit version of chakras.
Yeah, the Mooladhara.
Yes. And you wait until it will. I didn't want to say stop because I didn't want to stop it. And then you go to orange and you say balance. Oh, sorry. Second red. Yes, second red.
That is orange, right?
It's red, and third is the second chakra. So balance the
Sacral chakra.
second chakra. And it stops. So we go further and we say balance solar plexus or third chakra, or the Sanskrit name.
The Manipur chakra.
Wow, it moves my hand. Oh my goodness. Okay, and you wait, and you can see that in my case, that's why it was moving my hand at the beginning. It is very strong, and that's why I'm working on this chakra through different modalities, because I was in Lebanon and Egypt, and I brought a few things from there. And now you go upper and upper and upper. We will not do it now because I don't want to take too much of your time.
No, this is excellent. And this is nice demonstration. People will be able to absolutely understand how to go about it.
Thank you. So you go through your hand chakra.
Right.
That's the chakra which receives, left side. For people who are right-handed, it's very useful because you hold it over the chakra, which is receiving chakra, which is receiving part of the body, which means the energy is taken by this part of the body. Okay, if you do this because you are left-handed, then you will also supply, because if your body needs something, it will take it. It may take a little bit longer, it may take, it may be a little bit harder, but you still can do it. So it's not that if you are left-handed, then, then you cannot do it for yourself. So you supply yourself. Now, why we have to say that we want to balance specific chakra? We do it because if you will not say what your request is, what you want this red to do, then it will scan the body and balance everything what operates on frequency of red in your body. And you will think that you presume, never presume in dowsing. So you may find out that it works with, that your chakra absorbs so much while it was working on your whole body. Okay? When you say balance the chakra, it doesn't matter if your kidney requires so much red. It will not go there because you said first chakra, that's it. Very precise command, short and precise. Balance first chakra, or balance base chakra, or whatever, it's just about the spot which you want. The same way is if your, kidney needs red, then you will say balance red in my kidney. It will not go to the chakra because you didn't say so.
Right.
All right. So it follows your intention. The more spiritual divagation, if you would like to ponder upon later on, is what's run your life, intention or attention. So, dowsing really teaches so much about spirituality when we go deeper and have time to ponder upon the results and ponder upon what I say, what effects I get, and so on. It's fascinating, really, how it will increase your own spiritual development. But let's go back to the to physical body. So that's how you work on yourself. You just simply work through your hand chakra. You push the energy to your body, and it follows the energy flow and gets to the chakra you want to balance at that point. Why we use infrared and ultraviolet is that because our body, as we know, is surrounded with subtle bodies, which means energetic bodies, they are kind of like sealed on the bottom and on the top. So about 8, as science proved by the pictures and by the measurement of energy, about 8 inches or 20 centimeters above your head and below your feet, there are points of the chakras which are outside of our body, our physical body. That's why majority of people talk about 7, because 7 are inside the physical expression of our existence. Yes. But those 2 is the systems which I was trained in, call it the center below and the center above. Center below is lower than red, which is infrared. The center above is higher than violet, which is ultraviolet. And that's why we normally start with infrared to balance the bottom, the below, the center below, and then below the physical body. Then we go through the physical body, and then we finish at the center above, which is the center, which is the kind of seal on the top. Again, if you believe in different systems, that's up to you. You know, if you go through Chinese, they have only 3 centers. So, you know, we can all agree that we disagree on certain points of view, but we can adapt this to work also to fit our belief systems. So that's how you work on yourself.
Very nice.
Okay. Okay. Let's say that this is the chakra system. This is about the crystals, which you like, Professor Prabal.
Yes, I like.
Work with, and but I took it here with me to just so we will all see the colors of chakras in their locations.
Yeah.
Okay. If you work remotely, which means the person is not with you at specific time, then you will use something like this. It can be human body if you know where chakras are located. I took it for convenience, this. And you need to have either a witness or very good connection with the person.
Okay.
I like to work with witnesses because it holds the energy of the person and I don't have to worry about it. Which means the energy is anchored here where I work. So let's say that that's my client, Mr. X. You don't have to have whole body. I took the picture of whole body. You can put it under, but you put it under this way that the gentleman touches the picture, because the picture will release energy this way. That way goes very small amount. This way, those are main chakras. Those are back chakras. And they have different functions in our body. We normally balance the front chakras. So he has to touch those, not necessarily be the same size, so the chakras will match, but he will emit his energy into this board with chakras. Okay? So I will put this, if you have small picture, like let's say business card size or something, you can put it here. So the energy will be here, but again, his face will face the board,
Right.
not outside, right? So we will put this gentleman under. We have his energy here, and therefore we can have the pendulum. And again, go to the center below. There is other way of balancing chakras, but it's more complex, and you can find it in my course, the Mystery of Healing online course. So we go here because about 20 centimeters below the feet, or 8 inches, depending on the measuring system you operate in, and you simply say balance the center below for Mr. X. Wait until it will stop, then you go to red, go over red, and now say balance first chakra. And again, wait until it is. You can also say, let's balance the chakra system of Mr. X.
Okay.
And as you will progress on the string, we will go from chakra to chakra, and then when we will come to solar plexus or to red or whatever, we don't have to say it again. We just hold it, because the general request was balance the chakra system, all right,
Yes.
of this. So that is how you work with other, how you work with others, people remotely when you use this in therapy. Now, you do your best to go through all chakras. If something will happen and you have to stop, then you stop, because every color has all colors in it anyway. Very small amount, but it has other colors. So the yellow would be predominant, but there will be some other aspects of light in it. What will happen if you will stop at yellow, because whatever happened and you have to leave, or this person has to leave, or whatever, then the yellow and the energies which you supplied the body with before, which means orange and red and infrared, will share the energy with the whole system, will divide itself and supply whole system. But it in a sense is as you would not fully balance the system, because by sharing this energy, those lower chakras will kind of give out part of themselves to the higher chakras, which weren't supplied because you stopped. So be aware of that, but don't get oversensitive on this, that I have to finish. Don't be frustrated don't be afraid that something will happen to your client just because you didn't finish the whole system. But obviously the best is to finish. And you can ask this person to send you a picture. And if you are so sensitive on it, you can just finish it later on without your client physically present in your office or in your healing treatment room.
Very nice. So is it the question answer time, or?
Yes, please.
All right. So there were two questions which I wanted to ask. That we have healed a particular client either in person or with the help of the photograph, as you would have shown. Now, after the healing has been done, generally, if we are doing it without a pendulum, we disconnect. If we are doing with a pendulum, we try to see that if it has caught some kind of a negativity, then we try to clean it. So, do we need to clean the neutral pendulum as well after using it successively for a number of times?
It would be advisable. It's not fully necessary, but it would be advisable because it's relatively simple pendulum. It's just a ball. Okay, as every basic pendulum, you heal it by you clear it by tapping against hard surface. It's simply you have to just shake off the energy from this shape.
Yeah, great. Because normally what happens is these pendulums which carry crystals, we clear them, but for those ones, the other ones, the auto healing ones, the Karnaks and the Isis and the Osiris, since we don't do that, that is why I wanted to ask, since we are also using this for the healing purpose. This was one. The other question is that, you have bought this pendulum and we are using this pendulum, and suddenly one fine day a person gets up and because of no fault of his, one particular sticker or the marking has moved on left or right a little bit, or has gone off because of his or somebody else's mistake, then how does he get to know where exactly the color should have been?
Okay, so if you will decide to buy this pendulum, you can put it on the legal size of paper when you receive it and mark the positions of the beads.
Yeah.
And if you will move it accidentally, you would have to apply the force just because the tape is adhesive tape,
Yeah.
which means it has a thin layer of glue below.
Yes.
You can put a little bit of glue on the string and push it back, and then it will glue back. But you will have reference point if you will mark them on the sheet of paper before you will start to use it.
Incidentally, I did the same thing. I took a
I
ruler.
know.
I noted on the computer because I said you never know when this comes off, because it is
Yes,
only after using it
absolutely.
that you get to know what is the quality of the glue which has been used. And just in case it wasn't up to the mark, then you have just lost one frequency and you are probably thinking where it should lie.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, it will not be a pure frequency,
Yeah.
because the location of the points of the beats on the string are such that they mark the pure energy.
Yes.
Not the mixture, not below, not above, but pure red, pure orange, and so on. And that's why if you would, as we did before, if you would do this, and I think we talked about it last year, but for those who are new or for those who do not remember, we can say that if you will take, what didn't we do? Blue, let's say. Okay. If I will take this pendulum, which is really strong pendulum, releasing golden light, and I will put it over my hand and say, a balance, let's say indigo, third eye, right?
Yeah.
So it does this, and it stops. When I will take this, and we just balanced it, and go on indigo, which is second, a little bit darker blue, okay, and I will put my hand below so you can see, and I say balance third eye chakra, it still moves.
Yeah.
Because now I am on pure indigo. So the mixture which I took from the pendulum, which has everything in it, is not so precise as the pendulum, which now operates on anything else but this pure vibration. That's the advantage in therapy of working with neutral pendulum. But again, it's up to you. Depending how many clients one has, and those pendulums are not extremely expensive, but still, is it worth your effort or not? So you have to take under consideration this, and then you will decide what you want to do. I would like to tell you that there are available 3 sizes of it. There is a small one, which we work today with, medium, and then the large.
Wonderful.
The difference is in the size of the ball. Now, why there are 3 sizes? Just because bigger pendulum works faster, not differently, but faster. So you have the biggest one, which is working faster than this one, than the small one, right? But we can also see that there is a difference in the length, and especially in the length between short one, small pendulum, and medium and large. So if you are not very tall, then go for the small size. Just because if you will go on the highest vibration, this upper white, you will not have to hold your hand very, very high, which can be tiring after a time of working on all 7 chakras. But if you are taller, then there will be no problem with holding it, you see, like this. So for me, I have to stretch to hold it.
So stretching and
yes,
dowsing can go together
yes,
for you if you have the bigger one.
yes. So yes, it will work a little bit faster, but it will be less comfortable for the user, for the therapist, or a person who simply uses this pendulum. So take this also into consideration.
Yeah, excellent. This has been such a wonderful presentation. In fact, those who want to work with color, those who want to work with wavelengths, I think for them, this neutral pendulum is a blessing because they get to decide what and in what quantity a particular or in what proportion a particular color can be sent for healing. Also, for sensing the wavelengths or the colors being emitted by various objects, peoples, or situations. You have elaborated so much on how to do research on either yourself or on other objects or other people or other situations with the help of the neutral pendulum. You have also elaborated so much on how to use the neutral pendulum in order to effect healing on people or animals or situations. I think this will go a long way in making people understand how to use this important pendulum, and those who are new in this field will get to know about the possibilities which the neutral pendulum offers. I thank you so much for being with me today, and I look forward to some more interactions with you in the coming months. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Alicja.
you. Thank you.